Hello everyone and welcome to an unboxing of an alpha pledge level of Resident Evil the board game by Steamforged Games. I did unboxings and full solo playthroughs of their Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 2 board games. They're very good. This is a further adaptation of the going way back to the original game. That's what the box originally looked like back in the day on PS1. They've kind of gone for a motif of the director's cut on the Kickstarter editions, but we'll talk more about that as we go, I'm sure. And as a reminder, if you want to go watch those, they're fully playlisted. You can go watch Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and I do intend to do the same for Resident Evil 1. I think this is the all-in pledge, barring any extra stuff they added after the fact on GameFound. I think there was like a gold tyrant, which is a reference to the Sega... Ooh, I don't remember which console, but there was a gold tyrant on one of the Sega versions of Resident Evil 1. Either way, we're going to take a look at this. It's going to be a while. Grab a cup of tea, get something to eat, settle down, and let's get through this. So let's start with a little sundry stuff. I got a little blood vial of extra dice. The dice are basically the same, well actually I shouldn't say they're basically the same colour schemes. The symbols on them are different however, and I believe just at a glance those are ever so slightly larger than Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, the board games. And much like those, it also comes with the advertisement for their next Kickstarter. At the end of September they are bringing Resident Evil 4 to Kickstarter, and Resident Evil 4 the board game. It just had a very nice remaster video game. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt for that one, because the gameplay in that is very different to the first three Resident Evils. But either way, that's something to look forward to. Let's quickly... Oh, actually, I totally forgot about these. There is cloth versions of the player maps, or mats rather, for your weapons, your health dial, status effects, where your profile card would go. These I think are for unique things to this version of the game, because it does play a little bit differently to the previous two iterations. But I think you get 4 in there, give or take, and that might have been a stretch goal. The gamer trays definitely is, we'll get that out of the way in a second as well. But the terrain box will be a series of doors and stairs, I'm not sure what else, in plastic. Here we go, much like the previous two games have had. If you have them for one game, you can basically just use them between games. But yeah, that is a lot of ornate doors, classic mansion wooden doors, fancier metal doors for down in the, beneath the, the outpost whose name I've forgotten. And we've got some grated doors, some clawed doors, quite a lot of them actually. Some open doors for when doors get broken in there. Nothing much to see to them, and as I say, they look like the identical sculpts to the previous games. These are walkways. Steel walkways, I think. Let me just double check that. Oh yeah, stairs as well. Yeah, stairs thick enough for the miniatures to fit on, and fencing with the same for the lab. I was forgetting the lab. How could I forget that? Then we have ink ribbons and typewriters. Those look like the exact same sculpts to me from the previous versions. That's new. We have ladders, and I'm not sure. Oh, those are probably divider walls. Oh, actually, no, that's banisters, I think. I think that's banisters, not ladders. And then 3D corpse tokens, which are more dangerous in this because it adapts the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1, which in my opinion is the best version, which is also the version that's on PC if you're interested. It introduced crimson heads and some extra stuff. Took the original, made it better. Best way to do a remake. So next we'll take a real quick look at the retro pack. This is also something that Steamforged did for Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 board games. It offers you a selection of all the cards that you get in the base boxes, but done in the style of the original release back in 1999. So that's what this is for. Actually, this is a much better way to store it because the other retro boxes were quite large. So I like that this is a bit smaller, and yeah, it uses the designs as for the weapons as well. So we're not going to look at all these cards because these are optional extras. They don't normally look like this, but you do get a selection of everything, including stat cards for the new monsters, because there's Lisa Trevor, which is from the GameCube version. She wasn't in the version this visual style was based on. And then some other cards. Sorry for the abrupt cut, my dog started barking at something. Then we have the monster box and the Kickstarter exclusive. Then we're on to the actual proper stuff after that, more or less. So let's have a look at the, I think these were stretch goal extra monsters. I don't quite remember, but we're going to find out right now. So it is going to be miniatures. It looks like it's 4 extra hunters and a bunch of crimson heads, and dogs as well. So 4 identical sculpts of a leaping hunter whose right arm looks like it's broken. Let's just zoom in and try and get this to focus. done in the same red that the enemies were in the previous editions of Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 rather. So you've got 4 of those. Oh, that is in there tight. We have 3 Crimson Heads. You can tell they're Crimson Heads because of the giant claws they grow. If you don't know what a Crimson Head is, play the PC/GameCube version of Resident Evil 1. You'll enjoy them, I'm sure. Then we have 3 extra doggos. Again, good detail. And then underneath that, we have something. What is underneath this? We have, oh, good grief. They're just hocked in there. What is this? I think it's just additional zombie sculpts. Are they all the same? No, they're not all the same. There's 2. There's 3. I think there's 3 sculpts. Here we go. So a bunch of extra zombies, I guess, if you don't feel you have enough. That one's kind of lurching forwards, and then we have, well, that's the same pose. This one's definitely different because it's got a overly large hand out saying, look at the size of my hand. Why is it so large? There is one other sculpt, hang on. Is that slightly different? Yeah, because he's got the other hand raised and his arms kind of, oh, he's bloated, he's got a belly. I think that was in the director's cut, they changed up some of the zombies' designs. It's been a while. So they're just literally thrown in there. I'm not sure why they didn't get a plastic case, but sure. And then the Kickstarter exclusives, I don't remember what the Kickstarter exclusives were. Let's pull back out a little bit. Alternative skins, possibly. That's what it was for Resident Evil 3. Oh, yeah, it looks like it. So, what do we have? Alternative skins for sure, because I see like 3 Jills. This looks like Forest, I think. I'm not going to remember all the original Stars Teams members that you don't really meet. Oh no, I think Forest is the one with the grenade launcher, right? Oh, what was the name of the first guy? I don't remember, it's been too long. So that's an alternative sculpt for him. It kind of fits in there. Who is this? And we've got ourselves, I think that's Chris. Yep, that's Chris with a flamethrower, I think. Certainly some, well, actually that could be Barry. He's got a beard. I think that's Barry, because Barry uses the flamethrower depending on how you play through the first one to save Jill. Because there are alternative endings, or alternative things that can happen based on how you play. This is... I have no... Is this Enrico? I'm honestly not sure who that is. It's got his knife right by his head. That can't be Wesker, can it? No, that must be one of the team members. I don't recognise him at all. Let's see, from here we have... That's Chris with a shotgun, for sure. And then we've got Jill running with a shotgun. Oops. They're a bit small. So Jill running with a shotgun out. Then we have Jill in her Resident Evil 3 costume, if you didn't already have that, I guess. I think that's the exact model. I don't quite remember. She's in a very similar pose if it isn't that pose. This is... I think it's Jill in an alternative costume again. But I don't quite remember the alternative costumes. Is this Rebecca? No, I think it's Jill in casual wear. I don't remember any version of the original having many skins to unlock. It was the Resident Evil 3 that really had a ton of them. This is one of the other Stars members, presumably. I need to brush up on my memory for these team members. This is Rebecca in her basketball uniform. There's a meme connected to that, but I won't bother going into it. So that's fun. And of course these are all upside down. Who is this? This is Rebecca running with a shotgun, I think. I think so. Oh, Richard will be one of those other ones. How could I forget Richard? You have to save him. Or try to. This looks like Rebecca in an alternative costume again. Jill in military fatigues? I have no idea what some of the sources are on this. There could have been extra costumes added to the Sega versions. Those were the only versions of the first game I never played. That looks like Wesker to me. Although Wesker and Chris, based on the Resident Evil 1 models, really it's just a palette swap or a colour swap. That could be Brad. I think that might be Brad. Well, he always was a chicken heart, to be honest. Just as a matter of note, we're going to look at the Gamer Trays box. This isn't going to really matter unless you bought this version that comes with it. I'm just curious if it corrects the mistake they made with Resident Evil 3, where it didn't come with information on how to use the Gamer Trays, which was very frustrating. Let's see. Because these are inserts to keep your tokens all nice and your cards and everything all nice and neat. I guess there might be a guide available digitally, and I hope there is, because there isn't any in here. It is just the Gamer Trays themselves, so those are for miniatures, and that's all the cards. It is a great shame they didn't put in an insert. Again, it wouldn't have taken much, but there might be a digital version available. So now we're on to more arguably the interesting stuff. Over here is the core box. This is Resident Evil the board game with the Kickstarter version of the front cover based on the director's cut. There's 2 expansions, the Bleak Outpost, I never knew that's what it was called, and Into the Darkness over here. But it also comes with this director's cut Kickstarter edition box, and I'm not sure what this is. There is something in it, and because these are special edition boxes, it doesn't have the standard back. It does have the information about the game, 90 to 120 minutes, 14 plus is the age rating for 1 to 4 players, and it does say it requires the core game, so I guess it is something. We're looking at this slightly out of order, but this just, it has my attention. I want to know what this is, because it's not part of the other expansions. So let's open it up and see what we get. Oh, maybe it adds alternative enemies like the spiders, judging by the models I just caught a glance of. What do we have? The Director's Cut expansion upgrades your Resident Evil the board game campaign with several new gameplay elements, including new characters, new enemies, narrative and mission cards, campaign rules, and alternative game modes. Oh, let me see. Knife only, real survivor, hard mode, one dangerous zombie mode, enemy Wesker mode, traitor mode. Interesting. Okay, so it comes with zombified STARS members, chimeras, snakes, crows, and spiders, and some more crimson heads. Alright, well, we can quickly take a look then at what we have. Down here is just some health cards for the new characters they've added and to presume their starting gear. This is the cards I was talking about. Spawn a Crow, so that'll just be a door card, yeah. So those are for, I don't know if it's still called the tension deck, but the tension deck. So these are 2 chimeras who you don't see until right near the end of the game. When you're at the tail end of a lab, they start coming at you. Hopefully in focus. Very similar to the liquors in Resident Evil 2. But I guess other way around, because these came first, but you know what I mean. So you get 2 of those. You get 2 pudgy crimson heads, which is nice. And then we get 4 snakes. The little snakes you don't really run into that much. There's 1 bit where, well, 2 bits where it can fall on you. And then we've got 2 spiders. Don't know if you heard that, someone's using a drill somewhere. 2 horrible spiders. I think this is backwards, because why are its back legs up if this is its front? Is that what spiders normally look like? I can't say I've looked at one for very long. Then we have 2 birds, well, crows, because what is a Resident Evil game without birds to, for some reason, want to devour you? It's struggling a little bit to see them, they are very small. Hopefully that's relatively in focus right there, I think. Alternatively, paint them to look like geese and it's more accurate that they want to kill you. 2 of this Crimson Head sculpt. Any second now. There we go. And, 2 in the actual swipe they do in the video game. Like this is the exact swipe animation. So 1 of them actually, and then this is Zombie Forest, I think it said, because he is the first STARS member who can zombify and attack you after you grab the grenade launcher. And then a red version of Wesker, so this must be for that mode I mentioned where Wesker's out to get you. I think it's the exact same sculpt, isn't it? It's just in this colour, so if you don't paint them up, that's a good way to differentiate. And then we have, that looks like a stumpy version of Leon. It's not meant to be, I think. But doesn't he look a little bit stumpy? It's weird. This is the exact same Wesker mini. Yeah, it's literally identical except, wait, does he have his shades on? Yeah, they both had shades on, I think. So that's identical. This must be Brown. There's a bit of flash on there. This must be Brad because he's got the helicopter helmet because he's their pilot. And then we have Oh, you're the guy from the intro, the live action intro from the original version. I recognise his do-rag on his head and his shotgun shells on his vest, but I don't remember his name. He dies real early. And then... Oh, this is the spider bite. This is Richard. That was his name, right? Because he's got the shotgun and he's got like bite wounds on him. And this is CQC version of someone else from the team. He's got his knife out. I guess that's in case you want a model accurately to represent knife only mode. And then we have... Who's this? I don't know, but they have an itty bitty gun. It's adorable. Yeah, I'm not 100% on that one. And finally, if I can get that back in properly. How was that in? It was in this way, was it? I'll work it out in a second. And then this is... It's like Chris in the Cold? I'm not sure what this is. It's kind of grasping and maybe he's ill. I'm not sure. It might not be Chris. Again, it's hard to tell because in the first game they all look kind of similar. It's just the different coloured vests give it away. So I think that is everything in this. So that is a way to add some extra gameplay elements. Yeah, there's nothing else in there. Oh, I didn't realise there was Kickstarter names on the outside. They are tiny! Well, I'm on there somewhere, but who knows where. So now on to the main thing that matters. This is the core box. There's no real point showing you the back because again, it doesn't have a lot of information on these Kickstarter versions. But... Oh, neat. Hey, I like that. A classic moment when you first see the zombie. That's great. Oh, is it actually used for gameplay? Well, if it is, I'm so glad it's thick and durable. Because a key bit of Resident Evil 3 was just a thin bit of paper. Like really, really thin, and it was a horrible mistake to do that. So we have ourselves our rule book, which is 36 pages including a quick reference. I'm not going to go through every single page, I'll just show you a couple. The way the game works is different in that you explore the mansion. You don't have preset layouts. So it's going to be a bit hard to judge how much space you need because some of the missions in the previous two games needed a lot of space. It demanded space. But oh, there is a tutorial as well. Good. How characters work, how terrain works, danger level, mansion, and it has some additional game modes at the back there, including an easy mode if you want it a bit easier on yourself, standalone, or what we'll be doing once I get stuff painted up, the solo mode. So then we have scenarios. Not going to show much of this at all because this is spoilers. We'll just show the first couple pages of that. But this is, yeah, this will take you through the game more or less. You just quickly flip through. So because of the random nature of rooms, it doesn't even show that much, to be honest. But yeah, it goes right through to the helipad. So that follows the course of the entire game. Then, much like Resident Evil 2 and 3, we have ourselves the board tiles. They are a little dark again. There was a fair complaint made that the detail on them is hard to see because of how dark they are. We don't need to look at each one individually, but there is also wound tokens. Oh, there's the helipad. Speaking of the helipad, that's where the finale is. Some tokens I'm not sure about. They're definitely going to fall out if I cut them open, so I would rather not. It's exactly the same style. You have L shapes, you have different square shapes, 2x3, 2x2, 3x3, etc, etc. Corpse tokens if you don't have the corpse models, and door symbols if you don't have the 3D terrain as well. And then we have the core box miniatures. You know, I'm noticing some of the sculpts we already looked at. Like, that's the pudgy zombie, and you get 5 of them. That's the guy who's reaching out his hand saying, look at my big hand. There's 5 of them. That's 4 of the dog we've already looked at, and we looked at them, and that's the Crimson Head doing the animation I talked about. So that means the stuff in the other box is just additionals. It's not different sculpts, because these are all in the same, we've already seen them. In fact, those 2 hunters are the same as well. Well, 4 hunters, sorry, there's 2 more up there. So, you do get dice. The other dice were an extra. You get enough dice to play the game, that's all you need. 3 blue, 2 red, and a d6. You can substitute your own, obviously, for the d6 if you wanted. These are for the health dials, which I presume are 1 layer down. Different model-wise, though, here's the big important one. Oh, this is the Tyrant. Very nice. Let's zoom in. So hopefully it's picking up enough of his detail. Looks great. He's got his weak point is beating out of his chest, which always seemed like a design flaw of a bio-weapon, but whatever. And it is very nicely detailed. And new to the GameCube version of Resident Evil 1 was Lisa Trevor, who is an optional kind of new character. And this is her. A good addition. But it's kind of a... She's wearing her mother's face, I think? I don't quite remember. It was something like that, and she's chained up. But yeah, she was one of the new additions to the remake of Resident Evil 1. And then we have the 4 base player minis. So this is Barry. He has this. It's him with his Magnum. And then we have Rebecca Chambers. And then we'll have Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield, of course. She's actually, that is perfectly the animation of the stance she takes when firing her pistol. I did already paint up a Resident Evil 1 style Jill because it was one of the bonus models that came with Resident Evil 3. I might end up using that to save time, but I'll definitely paint that one up eventually because it's in the perfect pose. And this is the stance Chris takes when he fires in the original as well. That's perfect. Yeah, very nice. So let me just see if there's anything under this. So underneath that is another tray filled with an assortment of cards, stat cards, etc. It does make me wonder because these look like gamer trays as well. So what are they for if it's already come with enough stuff? I guess maybe the expansions don't have enough to show. So that is tension deck cards. I don't want to spoil them for both myself or for you, but these are the new kind of mechanic. This is the room explore type thing, so it's a bit more you don't know what you're getting until you get it, if you know what I mean. Event cards. Oh yeah, I think you can send unused characters on missions in this as well. It's like you're much more like a team even if you're playing solo. So that might be what that's for. We have some more room generation or map generation cards right there. Some doors are locked. There's A item and B item decks again. We have our stat cards for the enemies. I don't really want to look at Lisa Trevor. There we go. Immediately, because she will definitely not be at the start of the game. And then we have our item decks. So this will be standard items, A deck, B deck, presumably C as well. Oh, and locked doors. So you put these on the doors or under the doors if you're using the 3D terrain. Helipad. Shotgun shells, of course. Increase this character's shotgun or assault shotgun ammunition by 4 points. Where are the dials, though? They're not under there. And this is the core box, right? Oh, the dials will be part of the cardboard, so they're still sealed in there somewhere. That's where it'll be. So let's look at the Bleak Outpost expansion, first of all, and look into the darkness after that. Because I think, chronologically, this one should come first. It'll be depending on which miniatures are in here. Yeah, this is all the guardhouse and the aqua ring, so this is going to introduce Neptune and maybe Plant 42. Yep, Neptune, Plant 42. 2 optional bosses and an optional area for you to visit to expand your game. There's the information right there. Across a series of... let's skip a bit. Oh, they're not numbered, they're lettered, but at least 6 by the looks of it for optional bosses and themed, appropriately themed more areas to make maps out of that actually looks like theirs from the game. Again, a little dark. The Resident Evil 2 ones were very dark and it felt like they changed it a little bit for Resident Evil 3, made them nice and bright, had fires everywhere, they helped excuse them being brighter. They went back to being a little dank. So Plant 42 is actually in 2 bits and I can see glue. There was shine of glue under there. So he is a large lad, Plant 42. Just put that back there. There's his tomato, aka his head. That's a chunky bit of resin there. And perhaps more impressively, but very definitely stuck in there. There we go. That is Neptune the shark. Or rather, it's his head of Neptune the shark poking out, trying to eat you. Which is great. And then the relevant cards for them are included as well. Oh, including some new items actually. Oh, of course, yeah. Because you're going to need blue herbs mixed into the deck. I bet the Director's Cut stuff does that too, because the spider's poison, Plant 42 poisons. So if you don't have those, you don't have a need for blue herbs. Yeah, some additional cards there. And additional cards for fighting the bosses. Oh, there we go. Again, these are all trade perfectly, whether, like, if you weren't using them or whatever, there's storage space. So I don't know what the gamer trays are for so far, because it's come with ample storage. I guess if you wanted everything to be super neat, maybe it takes all the expansions so you can dump the rest of the boxes. I'm not sure. As of right now though, it seems superfluous, but I'm sure time will tell. But that is the Bleak Outpost. So Into the Darkness should probably add Yawn, which is the snake, and it should add the spider boss, whose name I'm forgetting. It is Black Tiger, I think. It's Black something. It is! Hey, I remembered it. Okay, so again, if you have arachnophobia, look away, but we're getting a big old snake, big old spider, and the relevant cards for both meeting Yawn for a boss fight in the library, and the webbed up tunnel for Black Tiger down in the caves. Information on how they work, how to move the larger models, and then some boss fights involving the two of them. Doesn't seem quite as long as the other expansion, but we have caves, again based on the location of the video game. Oh, even the boulder! Oh no! The insta-kill boulder. Oh, there's where you fight Black Tiger, actually. Very specifically, it looks identical to it. Very nice. Some star icons, I'm not sure what those are for. Some web, you can guess what those are for. And then, again, two big empty areas, presumably for like cards or tokens. I guess the tokens it comes with. So what do you need extra storage for? Well, it is a big old enemy spider. It is Black Tiger. Very nice, very detailed, very, like, contrast paint was going to do real well with this. It's very, very textured, which I hope is visible. Unless you don't like spiders, in which case, sorry. And then we have Yawn, the snake, which is, again, pretty great. Going to be hard to focus on because of where his neck's poking out, but hopefully you're getting an idea of quality there. It's got so much detail on the scales. Again, it's going to be lovely picked out in contrast paint, because the model is doing a lot of work with how textured they are. And Steamforged usually does do a good job with the texture of their models. They don't skimp on it. Monster Hunter being a most recent example. Some more blue herbs, because of course you need them, because they're poison monsters. Both of them are, actually, I think. Well, maybe, I don't remember if he must do. They must be both poison. Of course they are. Then you've got your boss stat cards for both of them, and some additional rooms for traversing the caves from the video game. And I believe that is it. So that, as they say, is that is everything you get for the Alpha Pledge level for Resident Evil, the board game. I think that was the name of the pledge I got, and I think that is pretty much everything available for the game. The end of next month, you've got Resident Evil 4 to look forward to see how they do that, which is interesting. Very genuinely interesting to see how they're going to try and adapt that style of gameplay from this, because I imagine it'll be an evolution of this again. But as far as where barring the Kickstarter stuff is going to retail, from Steamforged directly, you'll still probably be able to pick up some of the Kickstarter exclusive stuff, if not all of it. They've retained some stock for that purpose. So you can take a look at them directly if you want any of this Kickstarter exclusive stuff, or just wait for the box to actually go to retail, which I presume will be later this month, because they'll be shipping out the Kickstarter backers first. Anyway, I hope this was informative, or at least entertaining, or enjoyable. Thank you very much for watching. I will be covering the game at some point in the future. I'm going to paint up some miniatures that I know I'll need. Might use some zombies and dogs from previous editions, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. But I'll try and paint up as many from this as possible. Expect it, well, I don't really want to put a day on it, but it'll be at least a couple of weeks probably, until I have enough painted up and also have learned the new style of gameplay. But I know a lot of you enjoyed the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 board game playthroughs. I sincerely hope you come back for Resident Evil and enjoy it with me. Until that day, or whatever else you decide to watch on the channel, thank you for watching. Ta-ta for now.